traffic update as of 8 a.m. PST, September 28th. But first, we're going to start out these specific because we already have a system that is developing southwest of the coast of Mexico is 94L. We can show you it. Clearly, it's development now as seen as convection, a little bit of easterly shear, but the NIC says it has a 70% chance of development over the next 48 hours or 90% over 5 days. But they also say environmental conditions will become more favorable, and this is based on the models too. So here's the models. Westward in the next 48 hours and west-northwest to northwest or the rest of the forecast period. Some of the models like the IPCN take it into Cat 2 range because this could become a hurricane. Here's the GFS, that's 48 hours, 72 hours, 96 hours, 120 hours. We couldn't very easily become a hurricane based on maybe in my Cat 2 as the model showed. Here's the ECMWF that also shows this. I agree with the 90% chance. I think this will become our next tropical storm or hurricane to the Eastern Pacific. Our next system is in the Eastern Caribbean right now that is going to move into the Western Caribbean. Remember the first system I was talking about yesterday, models now say it's going to develop. The NAC only says development at 5 days. I disagree. I think it could start developing in about 4 days. So I'd put about 20% at 48 hours. I mean, they're right. So, but I'd go 50% for 5 days. Let's look at the GFS. Let me show you a quick loop. This is the first system based on the para. Wow. And clearly, it starts developing around 84 to 8 hours, then quickly strengthens under favorable conditions. It gets caught in the trough, heads northward, and hits Florida. Here's the way the GFS for 96. 120, which is slightly different than the para. It's more westward. Instead of taking it over Cuba, it takes it over the Yucatan. Probably more ridging at seas compared to the para. Now here's our second system. Oh, 92. It really doesn't make it strong as a para. We can go back to 120 of the para. We could look at that again. Clearly, both versions of the GFS developed the system. And here's the second system, already developing 168, which isn't suited. And that's really as the first system crosses Florida is probably a major hurricane. This one has the second system north of the DR at 192. Look at the ECMWF. Let's go to 96. It doesn't really develop the first system at 96. Let's go on. It really is much weaker than the GFS currently. But it's probably more in line with the para and the area it develops. Oh, it develops the Cape Verde system. That's definitely interesting in the first week, literally the first week of October. I mean, finally look at this CMC. Let's go back to 96. Really, it's right here on CMC. It's much further west. It's more in line. It's slower and more in line with the operational GF fast than the Para or the ECFWF. So there's going to be a fight how strong the ridging is, how strong the trough is, where it sets up, and how strong it gets. Yeah. 168. Here's that Cape Bridge system. Let's see if the GFS shows it. Yeah, barely. Well, let me show you a broad view of the seed that will form into this tropical cyclone in the Western Caribbean in the next 5 days. It's right here. And potentially something in here will be our second seed. Got kind of a shared system up in here. It's always interesting, but it will be taken out to sea and probably almost certainly won't form. What's left of Patty or whatever the hell its name is history. Unless you tropical